lovelies, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Georgina Mweni, and for the returning subscribers, karibuni sana and our panda, and I've missed you all. Before I even start, don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment down below. Guys, in today's episode I have a very important topic. Can you guess? Anyway, today's topic is mental health awareness and you. Na bado sijamaliza. In this episode I have a special guest who I'm gonna introduce in a few. His name is Mr. Dayan Masinde, a relationship coach, marriage counselor, and he has a heart of gold. And when you sit down and listen to what he's gonna teach us, you will feel inspired and you'll feel like your life has been changed. Like, I'm so excited because are you even ready to hear this important topic? Because mi sidhani kama mko ready. Amuko ready because I am yearning to hear and learn something from his intelligent mind. I've prepared for him 9 questions that he's going to answer on this hot seat. So guys, let's not waste time and let's get straight to the video.
Yeah, mental health is an issue today. It's always been an issue. It's always been an issue from time immemorial. For as long as there have been human beings who are going through challenges, who are going through life, who are going through everyday living, mental health is a key component. Actually, in today's society, the good thing is that now we're able to diagnose, we're able to be more self-aware, we're able to understand what is going on, we're able to actually accept that people can actually go through a lot of matters. You know, we are able to take away the superstition. Somebody can be going through a bad day or not be so well mentally or be depressed, and we won't be like, oh my goodness, they may be cursed. They could be going through a particular issue, they are lost or something like that. We are able to understand people's journey. So mental health is such an important thing today. And today's society has unique challenges. From the daily life of looking for money, to the pressure that comes with it, to the whole fear of missing out, where people are like, oh my goodness, my peers are doing XYZ, paying bills, romantic relationships not doing so well, perhaps the romantic scene or the dating scene is rather chaotic, family trauma, people are growing up in perhaps homes that are dysfunctional, or homes where parents are not so healthy, or they have their own mental health issues. So you see, there's a lot to handle in today's society. So back-to-back issues can play a big role when it comes to mental health. So a lot of dynamics have actually changed in today's society. We have modernized. We are really the most advanced human beings ever. But that comes at a cost, especially the cost towards our mental health, whether it is work-related, family-related, sex-related, romantic relationships-related, or even abuse-related. So we've got all these things coming all at once to us when it comes to mental health today. Oh, good question. Well, both men and women are affected and can be affected when it comes to their mental health, sometimes based on the similar matters such as finances, such as childhood matters, such as confidence, such as self-esteem, and work-related matters. All these can be the same for men and women. And also there are some areas that are uniquely towards the woman and uniquely towards the man. So for example, for women, they can be affected perhaps due to having a child. There could be childbearing, it could be hormonal matters, it could be her body image, it could be perhaps abuse that she grew up in, it could be perhaps her relationship with her fellow ladies or fellow women folk. And also for men, it's unique. It can be unique in that men can go to their own matters, especially when it comes to societal perception that men are hardcore. They go through, they know how to handle matters. They don't voice out, they don't break down, they don't cry, they don't have emotional strain. Yet men are actually going through a lot. Especially statistically, we look at men are actually attempting suicide or committing suicide at a faster rate than women. So men can have the unique also challenges when it comes to mental health. It could also be financial, because perhaps the man is seen as the provider. He's seen as the provider, or he's hanging around maybe perhaps women or a woman who goes like, you know what, I want you to do this for me financially, do this for me financially, and because he wants to please her or to make her feel good, he pushes himself into a hole that he shouldn't get into. Perhaps he stretches himself too far, he goes deep into debt. So there are also some unique challenges when it comes to men. Men also can have their own mental health matters, especially when some of them look at their manhood, their penis. I'm gonna be real over here, and then go like, oh my goodness, it's not the appropriate size, so they feel a bit insecure about that, especially when you have fellow men who are mocking you, maybe perhaps because of your frame or because of how you look. So there's some unique challenges that affect men, unique challenges that affect women, and then there are those ones which are universal that affect the both of us. So what is needed is for both men and women to understand each other. Sometimes actually the source of mental health issues are people of the opposite gender. We live in a society whereby men are ganging up in what we call the manosphere, where they gang up in the manosphere, and then they talk about women in a negative way. They even come up with slogans such as fear women, because oh my goodness, women are just the worst, be very suspicious of them. So men can gather up and just talk negatively towards women, and even perhaps become male chauvinists, put down the woman. And the same thing, women can gang up and just have a negative view towards men. Perhaps they see men as dogs, they see men as this crude or bad behaving individuals. So they have a negative perception of the opposite gender. When you have that, you can end up relating with people of the opposite gender in a bad way, to the point that now you're hurting each other, because a lot of men are hurting women and a lot of women are hurting men. So men and women can both be affected when it comes to mental health matters. Good question once again, very good question. Of course, mental health challenges affect relationships. It's very, very true. Because at the end of the day, we relate to people based on our mental state, based on our mental well-being, whether it is parent and child relationship, whether it is sibling relationships, whether it is relatives, whether it is a romantic relationship, whether it is friend-based, whether it is work-related. All these relationships are pegged on the state of your mental well-being. Because if you're not okay mentally, if you're not thinking the right thoughts, if you're not stable, if you're not emotionally in tune with yourself, if you've not fully grasped and known how to handle bad days and good days, then you can end up pouring your issues onto the next person. As a parent, you could be having your own trauma, you could be having your own mess, you could be having your own drama playing out in your mind, and then you take it out on your child. You take it out on your child for no apparent reason. So the child is not even feeling at home near you. And what actually that happens is that the child now ends up developing trauma. If it's a romantic situation, when you are not okay mentally, you can end up becoming negative, or bringing about insecurity, or bringing about matters that can end up affecting the person that you love, or the person who loves you, and you can end up pushing them away, or it can end up becoming chaotic. A simple situation, a simple conversation can end up becoming nasty. So somebody's wondering, why does it have to be so difficult, just having a conversation with you, like what is going on? So you can end up sabotaging romantic relationships, and also you can end up becoming abusive. Whenever we see abusive partners, that is as an indicator of somebody who's not doing so well in their mental state. It can also affect friendships, because sometimes people try to be friends with you, but once they get close to you, they just realize that there's just a way about you that is not so pleasant. You're not so good to be around. So people can pull away from you, and now what happens is that you start feeling like people are rejecting you. People are, they are isolating themselves. They're actually detaching themselves away from you, and you start to isolate yourself rather. And maybe you start saying, "Oh, I have the spirit of rejection." Maybe forget about being superstitious. Maybe there's no spirit of rejection. Maybe it's just that you're not doing so well mentally. You're not in a wholesome mental state whereby people can enjoy being around you. I like saying that every single individual has something that I call a microclimate. A microclimate is the environment that you have around you. So whether somebody calls you, somebody is face to face with you, or somebody is chatting with you virtually, what kind of experience do they have when they are near you? Is it a pleasant experience or a not so pleasant one? So when you're having a not so good mental health, it's going to show. So people are going to repel you. They're going to just move away. So as I said, it's not that you're having a spirit of rejection. It's just that you're not so enjoyable to be around. Being around you comes with a certain intention, or comes with a certain level of boredom. Maybe you're just not even talking. You're just uptight and rigid, or you are overthinking to the point that you are not even having conversations with people, because sometimes you can overthink your way out of conversations. Instead of you talking, you're just keeping quiet and keeping numb. So keeping mum rather. So please check on that, and that can end up affecting your relationship. So yes, your mental health is directly related to how you interact with people. So if you want to have a healthy relationship with others, first have a healthy relationship with yourself, because your healthy relationship with yourself is going to help you to love yourself, to understand yourself well, to be able to relate with yourself well, to be able to talk pleasant stuff to yourself. So even when you speak to you, you are kind to you, you are appreciative towards you, you don't focus a lot on negative thoughts, but you are aware of what you need to work on, but also what you can celebrate. So having a healthy relationship with yourself first can lead you to having a healthy relationship with other people. So please do not hide behind relationships. Don't rush into relationships. Don't rush behind people. First, relate with yourself well. Have a healthy relationship with yourself. Think well of yourself. Think good thoughts towards yourself. Be kind to you. That way you're going to have self-confidence. And when you have self-confidence, you're going to be attractive. Let me tell you, self-confidence is an attractive quality. It does not matter how tall you are, how short you are, how fat you are, how slim you are, your complexion, how much money you have, how much money you don't have. When you have a healthy sense of self, when you have a healthy mental state, that confidence, that oomph, that aura of just who you are is going to attract people around you. So first, have a healthy relationship with yourself, and that way you can be able to bond well with others. A lot of wrong or of harmful stuff can actually happen when you don't take care of mental health. As you've seen, it can affect your relationship. It can affect the way you bond with people. It can affect the way you relate with people. You see, even at the workplace, one of the things that can happen is when you don't have a good mental health of yourself. You're not easy to work with. You're not a team player. In cases whereby you're supposed to be able to work on something, you're not the best person to work with. So people will not like teaming up with you. So what might happen is that you might end up even losing out on promotions, losing out on successions, losing out on opportunities, because people look at you like, I'm not sure whether this person is the right fit. Because the truth of the matter, the ones who get promoted, the ones who are taken to the next level in terms of career or even in terms of business, are the ones who have a healthy mental state. There are people who can know that, okay, this person can handle pressure, this person is responsible, this person can work well under pressure. I don't know whether you've seen people writing on their CV, can work well under pressure with minimal supervision. What are they trying to say? They're trying to communicate they have a healthy mental state. So if you don't have a healthy mental state, what's going to happen is that you'll miss out on opportunities. If you're in business, you might end up frustrating your customers, because imagine when you're not settled in your mind, and then you end up becoming triggered by a customer, you blow a fuse, you speak to that customer anyhowly. So that way you'll end up pushing away customers, you end up pushing away people. So it locks you out of opportunities. Another thing that can happen is that it can mess up your physical well-being, because your mental well-being is also directly affecting your physical well-being. There's some illnesses that we have, and their source is actually the mental state. So when you're not okay mentally, you'll end up having this situation whereby you're developing some certain illnesses which are just weird, which is just not right. And a lot of people even go to the hospital, they get tested, they get checked. People are like, we don't even understand what is wrong with you. We don't understand where this thing is coming from. But it's coming from your mental well-being. Yeah, it's coming from your mental well-being. So when you're not able to take care of your mental state, it can affect your physical well-being. It can also affect your sleep patterns, because you end up either not sleeping, you have insomnia, or you're sleeping too much. You're sleeping too much because you know what, you're just not even having a peaceful night's rest. It can also affect the quality of your life. So you miss out on a lot of joy, a lot of experiences, moments that you could be having with your children, with your friends, with your romantic partner, with people around you. So you're not enjoying life, you're not enjoying food, you're not enjoying music, you're not enjoying living, simply because you're not okay mentally. You're not at ease, you're not at home in your mind. So you end up just not enjoying life. And you see, you have 24 hours in a day. Imagine that 24 hours can be affected by your mental well-being, because all of us have the same 24 hours. Those ones of a healthy mental state, they are living their best life. It doesn't mean that they don't have challenges. They do have challenges, but it's just that, you know what? They've been able to appreciate that life has ups and downs. And there are also those ones with the same 24 hours, but they just feel like this day is just off, it's just a mess. Another thing that you can end up doing is that it can end up costing you financially. Because imagine if you're not working well, you can end up wasting away your finances. Either perhaps you're escaping through alcohol, you're escaping through some not so pleasant habits, and you're spending money to do this. Because you're not working, it means you're not earning. And also, sometimes some of us, we do something that we call shock therapy, where because you're not okay mentally, you're not good, you try to make yourself feel good by buying stuff. You buy a new pair of shoes, you buy an outfit, you buy this, and these are things that you don't even need, but you're buying them because you're not okay mentally. So you look at your how much you're spending, your expenditures. You're like, wow, I have actually been spending so much on nothing, simply because you're not okay mentally. So when you're not okay mentally, it can cause you to make some very, very bad decisions. You can end up making some irrational choices. There's some people who've ended relationships because they're not in a good mental state. There's some people who have quit because they're not in a good mental state. There's some people who have made some bad calls because they're not okay mentally. And then after you do that, once you sober up mentally, you're like, what did I just do? What was that all about? So it can cost you. It can cost you. Another way that it can end up, your mental health can having a not so good mental health can affect your life, is that you can end up sliding into depression, where you no longer enjoy the things that you used to do. You lose the fire for life. It's not sad. Depression is not being sad. Depression is a constant state of feeling hopeless, of feeling down. There's nothing that can excite you. Nothing can lift you up. Nothing can make you feel good. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. This is why the mind is so powerful. It's the steering wheel of your life. So it can make you slide deep into depression. And you're over there, you're like, nothing is even making sense anymore. You become hopeless. And once you become hopeless, you can end up also going to the extreme where you start having suicidal thoughts. You just want to take away your life, because you're like, what's the point of living? What's the point of being here? What's the point of existence? So you want to take away your own life. And that is dangerous, because let me tell you this. There are so many people who thought about committing suicide, but then they did not. And today they look back and they're like, wow, I'm glad I did not succeed in killing myself. I'm glad I did not succeed in taking away my own life. And the same thing is with you. Whatever it is that you're going through, it will not last. Life has seasons, and sometimes you could be in a tough season, and sometimes the tough season can appear that it is long, but tough seasons don't last. Eventually it's going to end. So instead of you feeling hopeless and taking away your own life, there is a solution. And perhaps the issue is you don't even have to do much. You just need to hang in there. Hang in there with the little energy that you've got. Reach out to somebody if you need to, but please, I beg you, please do not take away your own life, because eventually things will turn around. We have had testimonies of so many people whose lives turned around for the better, and your testimony is next. Very, 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 very important, because so we talked about the importance of mental health. So how do we do it? How do we take care of our mental health? Number one, stop trying to pretend that you're strong. In case you're going through something, stop being in denial. Just admit it. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Don't be that person who people around you can tell something is off. They're checking you. They're wondering like, hey, can we talk? You're like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Please stop being in denial. Accept that you're not okay. And this is especially for us men, because us men are the ones who feel like we need to put a tough persona that you're good, we got every single thing figured out. You don't. No one has figured out life in entirety. You know, if you're going through a tough time, just accept it. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Things are not okay. So that's number one. Number two, know your limits. Know your limits. Know your limits. You know what? Know how far you can go. Don't carry too much that you can bear. You know, don't take up responsibilities that you cannot handle. Don't commit too much that you can't even deliver. Know your limits and be like, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I cannot do. And just because you can't do something right now doesn't mean that you will never be able to do that thing. Eventually you'll be able to do that thing. So know your limits. Once you know your limits, it will help you and keep you from being burnt out, keep you from being overwhelmed, and put you in a good, healthy mental well-being. Number three, eat right, sleep right. You know what? And just enjoy life, enjoy living. So eat right, sleep right, get to be able to just do the things that you love. Engage yourself in things that actually make you feel good. Do you like playing a game? Play that game. Do you like music? Listen to music. Do you like taking walks? Go for walks. Do those things that awaken your five senses: the sense of touch, the sense of smell, the sense of sight, the hearing, scent, the scent of, did I say taste? Oh yeah, you just your five senses. Just do things that awaken your five senses. That way you're going to feel alive. That should be number four. That should be number four. Number five, touch alive. There's something beautiful and something healing when you go out there and make somebody smile. Because the truth is, when we are down, we can be very self-centered. We only think about us. Oh, my day is bad. Oh, this. Anytime you feel like that, I want to challenge you. Find one person to bless. Find just any person to bless. Write them a warm text message. Just speak to them a kind word. Just do something pleasant to somebody. You'll find that when you make somebody smile, it lifts you up. Instead of you being dull and feeling down and being so meh, why don't you find someone that you can actually bless them, and they're gonna feel much better. And as they feel better because of you, you will feel better about yourself. To point number 6, if you are a spiritual person, if you're somebody who believes in God, pray. Pray. Once you pray, prayer has a way of just putting you at ease, bringing about peace in your life. So if indeed you're spiritual, if indeed you believe in God, why don't you take some time to just make prayer life a part of your everyday living? It's going to help you. When you have a tough time, present it to God. Present it to God. Point number 7, if in case you're struggling with something and it is so deep, why don't you talk to someone? Find a friend. Find a religious leader, a pastor perhaps. Find a counselor. Find a parent who cares. Find a mentor. Find somebody that you can pour yourself out to and be like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through. This is what's happening. You know what? Sometimes it is being hard that makes us feel better. Sometimes that's all we need, somebody to hear us out. But how can somebody hear you out if you're keeping quiet? How can somebody be there for you if you're in hiding? How can it happen? Number 8, one of the things that you can get to is journal. Just write down your thoughts, especially your negative thoughts. Anytime you find the negative thoughts playing out, there's something we call CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So when a thought is coming into your mind, push it with some questions. Okay, how true is this thought? Okay, so I'm thinking like this, I feel like I'm useless. Am I really useless? You know what, this person has been bad to me. Have they really been bad to you, or have they just done 1 or 2, 3 things that you don't like? So you push back negative thoughts. Don't own negative thoughts. Push them back with some questions. Okay. So I feel like, life is hopeless. Is it really hopeless? I feel like no one loves me. Is it true that no one loves you in the entire world? Is it really, really true? I feel like I'm a loser. Are you sure you are a complete loser, or have you just failed in 1, 2, 3 areas? So that way you can get to have a balanced view of life. So when you're journaling, when you're pushing back against your own negative thoughts, that's going to really, 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 really help you. So these are just some of the ways that you can get to have a healthy, take care of our mental health. And lastly, check your environment. Are you in an environment where people are argumentative? People are mean towards you, people are bringing you down, people are perhaps pushing your buttons, they are intentionally making your life hard. Avoid such environments as much as you can. Be selective in the kind of friends you hang around with. Be selective in the kind of person that you choose to marry, you choose to relate with, you choose to be romantic with. Be selective in the Facebook groups that you join, the WhatsApp groups you're a part of, the conversations that you have. If you are in an environment where it's always, people going at each other, that is not healthy. You need peace in your life. You need rest. You need to be able to have pleasant conversations. And even when people disagree with you, that they can disagree with you with respect, that I can find you wrong, but I still respect you. So check your environment. Now, this is the kind of question that I love, because it's a question that comes from a place of love, a place of care. Because the truth is, we will all have our mental health challenges at one point or another. Sometimes it could be a friend of yours, a loved one that you notice that this person is not okay mentally. They are going through something. So do not judge them. Do not judge them. Do not be like, now you, what is this? Don't judge them. And do not make the issue seem petty. If something is heavy on someone, don't make them feel like it is petty. Just because it's small to you, it doesn't mean that it's not big to them. So if it's something that's big to them, you know what? Work with them at their level. Maybe that's where they're at. Maybe that's their experience. So do not see them as petty. So that's number 2. Number 3, give them a listening ear. As you've seen, this power in hearing people out. So when somebody that you know is going through a mental situation, just hear them out. Just let's talk. Hey, how are you doing? How have you been? Hear them out, and hear them out with kindness, that you genuinely care. You genuinely care for them. So that's number 3. Number 4, be patient with them. Sometimes it takes a while to get out of out of the mud. So they're deep in the mud. It takes a while. You know what? Do not be impatient with them. Don't rush them. Because the same thing as you will not be like to be rushed when you're going through something. Eventually, they will pull themselves out. Eventually, they're going to get out of the mud and they're going to get back to their real state. So please, be patient with this individual. Number 5, if indeed you feel like it's overwhelming for you to be there for them, you can book a counseling session for them. You can actually suggest to them, why don't you go see a therapist? And you can escort them and perhaps escort them to the office and just be like, okay, sir, Mr. Counselor, Miss Counselor, I've already brought this friend of mine. You know what? You just attend to him or her, and I'm going to be able to foot the bill if there's a bill to be foot. And you're just there. You're just there with them. You just there with them. And then number 6, sometimes you need to talk about other things than problems, because people don't want to talk about problems 24/7. So for example, if they're going through something, maybe what might help is get them to talk about other things. So find out their favorite topic. Do they like to talk about football? By the people of Arsenal, Man City, Man United, do they love to talk about basketball? Do they like to talk about food? Do Do they like to talk about children? Do they like to talk about investments? Do they like to talk about movies, soap operas? Find out what do they like to talk about and initiate those conversations. So that way you can show them that, hey, there's more than what you're going through. There's more than what you're going through. And then, of course, if you also believe in God, pray for them. But even most importantly, pray with them. When the person is in your presence, just hold their hand or be close to them and be like, hey, can we get to pray? And then you pray for them. Sometimes the most powerful act of love is seeing someone pray for you in your presence, that they're committing you to prayer. Because sometimes you struggle to pray and you just need that somebody who cares to just mention your name before God and just love you up in the spiritual realm. So these are some of the ways that we can actually be able to be there for somebody who's going through some challenges when it comes to their mental well-being. Now, therapy is very, very important, and I need to demystify therapy. Therapy is not something that you go perhaps when you've reached your very, very end, because we shouldn't go for therapy only when we have hit rock bottom. Go for therapy also to what it is that I say. I call it life check. The same way you check the quality of the oil in your car, you can also check the quality of your mind in life. You just want to go to a therapist and you can get to actually have a conversation. Hey, where am I at? Because a therapist, a counselor, they help you to tell your story. So you get to tell your story. They help you to own your story. Now you own. Okay, so this is my story. This is what I went through. Now I'm owning my story. They help you to understand your story. That okay, so I went through this, and now I understand how this and this happened. I understand why I react this way. I understand these are my flaws. I understand this is the person that I'm mad at. I understand this is why I'm procrastinating. I understand this is why I'm indecisive in life. So you end up understanding yourself, and then once you understand yourself, then you shape your story. So you tell your story, you own your story, you understand your story, and then you shape your story. So that's the importance of therapy, of counseling, where you can get to go to a space whereby there's no judgment. You can pour all of you there, all of your matters there, and be listened to and not be rushed, and for your issues to be attended to holistically, because there's so many things in our lives that are tied together. What happened in your childhood affects what happened in your teenagehood. Your teenagehood decisions affects your adulthood decisions. The way you think about yourself affects this other thing. Your money affects this thing. So therapy also allows you to link every single thing together. That way you have an all-round understanding of who you are and be like, hey, now I get myself. I understand who I am, And how can you say you love yourself if you don't understand yourself? Because how can you love what you don't know? So do you love yourself? The test of that is that you understand who you are. You know who you are. You know who you are. But too many of us, we are running away from ourselves. We're running away from the inner us. Yet we have childhood trauma that we need to address. We've got things that we experience that we haven't faced. We've got things about us that people are telling us, you know what, check on this. You are easily triggered, you are hot-tempered, but you don't pause and be like, hey, let me look at the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. You're not having a meeting with yourself. So therapy allows you to have a meeting with yourself so you can be able to tweak and correct what needs to be corrected, celebrate the areas that need to be celebrated, and also unlearn and learn new things that you can employ in your life to become a better person. So embrace therapy. And as I said, do not wait for things to hit rock bottom for you to go for therapy. Let's take away the stigma from therapy. Therapy is for your benefit, it's for your good, and especially for men. We like saying, no one can tell me how to live my life. No one can. No. Therapy is not to tell you how to live your life. Therapy is to help you to unpack your life so that you can be able to understand. Because the truth is, the solution, a lot of the things that will bring out the best in your life, they are deep inside you. And therapy allows you to bring that up and to bring that out so that you can be like, oh, let me shape my story. Oh, social media can be both useful and harmful. I shall start with harmful. The harmful part about social media, it can put undue pressure on people. You look at your peers, they look like they're living their life, they're living their best life. You start to compare yourself with them, and you're like, oh my goodness, why am I not like so and so and so? The truth of the matter is that many times people only post what is the best side. They only post what they want you to see. So rarely will you see people being really honest. So you could be over there perhaps feeling jealous or envious of people who are faking it till they make it. So you're in competition with fakeness. No point. So it can put undue pressure on people. It can also, as you've seen earlier, it can also put you in an environment whereby people are just attacking each other. So you're constantly in this echo chamber where people are just attacking each other. So you attack, you get attacked, you also attack back, and you end up just missing out on, just mature and respectful conversations. Another harmful thing that you can actually get to do, it can waste a lot of your time. So you're spending so much of your time just looking at this screen, perhaps watching content or reading articles, reading posts that are not even adding any value to you. Before you realize it, you've wasted so much of your time. You feel guilty, you feel really bad, you feel useless. So please find a way to have self-control and to check your how you consume the social media that actually you're using. So I like to say, be smart with your smartphone. So be smart with your smartphone. Now, the good thing, the useful thing about social media is that it can introduce you to a lot of information about mental health. It can introduce you to a lot of things that can make you more self-aware. It can connect you even to a good therapist, a good counselor. It can get you to connect you to a group of people who perhaps share the same unique challenges just as you are. Perhaps if you're going through a certain situation, or if you went through a certain thing in the past and you need people who are in the same, who've experienced the same thing as you, it can help you do that. It can help you understand people better by reading or seeing more of the experiences, because sometimes we get encouraged by other people's experiences. This is why testimonies are very important. So you check out a testimony, it inspires you, like, oh, if they made it, so can I. If this and this happened, then so can I. So social media can be a powerful tool to reach out to people, to inspire people, to connect with people, to be able to demystify so many things about psychology, so many things about mental health awareness, so many things about life, so that you can be able to understand, because knowledge is powerful. The truth shall set you free once you know it. So once you know all of these things, it just unlocks a certain health in you, and you're able to realize that, hey, you're not the only one going through this thing. And it's actually, whatever it is that you're going through, the solution for you are there. So I encourage you, instead of spending so much of your time checking out videos of perhaps people twerking, or people doing XYZ, people bickering or debating and arguing about nonsensical topics, or men attacking women, women attacking men, instead of consuming such content, why don't you consume content that's going to build you, inspire you, challenge you, and make you a better person? My final message: you cannot do away with your mental well-being. It's very easy for us to take care of the physical attributes of us, to dress well, to perhaps eat well, to perhaps put on makeup and all these things, and neglect the most important part of us, the inner us, your inner being. And life without your inner being is I don't even know how to describe it, because there's no life without it. Your inner being shapes everything. You could be smiling on the outside but hurting on the inside. So why are you hurting on the inside? Why don't you just take time to address the inner you? Because the inner you perhaps has been neglected for a very, very long time. Why don't you get to meet you? So I request you, please, why don't you encounter you? If you've missed yourself enough, if you've paid attention too much to other people, maybe it's time for you to pay attention to you. And lastly, I will say this: the secret to loving yourself is to taking care of your inner self.
Hey guys, I told you you're gonna enjoy this video because I feel inspired. The question is, do you feel inspired? I will comment down below. And guys, I'll see you on my next video.